Do you guys ever get like spam texts? I don't know. So, dear, you are invited to join the Bitcoin internal discussion group. All right. So I'm going to, do people have their things up? Is this computer's loaded? Loaded, we're good? Okay. So you're going to create a new model. So go to new, and then make sure you pick Imperial Architectural Template. And then hit OK. So here's my level 1 plan. I want to bring in this floor plan that we have and just get it scaled to the right size. So today we're going to be working mostly with annotation. So annotation is like you have your digital model, which is the 3D thing that we made last time, right? So it's actually like walls and doors and windows and ceilings and lights. Annotation is anything I put in 2D over that. So the computer slices it. It kind of makes a drawing of it by looking at it from a specific direction. And then on top, I can layer information. So I can put in room tags that explain what the room name is, the area of it. I can put in, I might put on notes for like what something is specifically. I can put on different tags for furniture. I can put on patterns to represent different flooring. So that all falls under the annotation category. But to start off with, I'm going to go to Insert. And if you guys want to follow along, I think let's all download the JPEG that I'm going to put in. So if you go to over here, go to Canvas, Modules, come all the way down to Google Drive for site information and click on that. Click on the title here. And then if you go up to, there should be something that says JPEG floor plans. So if you double click on there, you're going to download floor plans page 1. Okay, and you want the JPEG. I think this version of Revit might let you do a PDF, but the old version only let you do JPEG. So I'm just going to stick with JPEGs in case you ever are stuck using an old version. Okay, so coming back to Revit, I then go to Insert. So it's like up on this tab, Insert, and I want to do Link Image. So it's kind of like halfway down, this one that says Link Image. Click on that. And then navigate to find that. So mine is probably going to be under downloads. So if I go to like users, Okay, can you hear now? Yes? Okay, thank you. Okay, everybody downloaded? Okay, so you're gonna go over to insert and then link image is here. And then you just need to click on, find where that went. So it's probably in your downloads folder. So mine was under users, my name, and then downloads. And then you want to click on floor plans page 1 and hit open. So what that's going to do is pop my floor plan right in here. I don't know where north is on this. Do we see like a north arrow? Let's see. Okay, north is this way. So the way it came in should already be correct. You should see a north arrow like in this corner and it should be pointing up. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just move this until it's almost in the center. And I'll click outside. The next thing I want to do is scale it because right now this has no scale to it and I want it to. Okay. Better? Okay, thank you. All right, so select the line, type in CO for copy, then click the line. Come straight over, type in 131 apostrophe for feet and hit enter. Once you have those two lines set up, you're going to select the drawing and then you go to the scale key. The scale is under modify and then it should be this one here. It's like, it's kind of halfway and it's in the middle and it's like a little box, a little white box going to a big blue box. Click on that. You're going to click, oh, sorry. Part of the problem. I'm thinking it's still out. Is it back on? No, I think it's back on now. But the video doesn't look like it's working. Hello? Okay. Okay, did everybody get the scaling? Does anyone need help with it? I can hear you. I can hear, I can't see you, but I can see the screen. Okay, that's fine. I don't know why the video won't work. Maybe I can stop the video and start it again. No. All right, video's not going to happen. That's fine. As long as you can hear me. Okay, are we ready to keep going? Need help? Okay. I think you're good. Are you rotated? Yours is fuzzier than mine for some reason. So you're just going to move this so that your first arrow is right on that line. And then you're going to scale it. So you go to the scale button. Choose this one. But no, next one. Unpin it. That. Okay, now click on the scale button, middle, that one. And undo that. This one, the like little, yeah, that. Okay, now click on the first one. Zoom in. Zoom away and find your second arrow. So that's out here. So click on that. And then bring it into the second line. So come back this way. Okay, all good? All right, once that is there, we want to pin it so that it doesn't move on us. So select the image and you're going to hit the pin button. That's right here. So it's under modify and it's like above the X, you hit pin. So that's helpful because now I can't move this around on accident. It's just going to stay there. Everybody find the pin button. It's under modify and then it looks like a little push pin. Okay. You just click it. So you just click that and then click that. Okay. So now that I have that, we're going to work on setting up our views. So right now, we're in our floor plan, but I don't know where the prop is on it. So I'm going to come over to here on the bottom and hit show crop region. It's got like a little prop and it has a blue light on it, and then click that and you should see this box show up. When that box shows up, I want you to move the bubbles. So you select them and just drag them so that we're just looking at our floor plan. So your floor plan ends like once you get past this wall, that's really where you want to end it. It doesn't need to keep going. So I'm just this is like your page size, basically. I'm cropping in the view, so I'm not looking at too much at once. Okay. Is this part of it, or is this? I think this is an enlarged plan over here, so we're going to crop that off too. We're just going to keep that part. Okay, once you have that all where you want it, you're going to turn it back off. So you go back to hide crop region and click on it. Yeah, so this is where the crop is, and I'm basically just keeping it so I get the walls in there. But originally it was like out here and they had a whole bunch of details. I don't need the details, I just want the floor plan. So just look for like the outside of your walls. And I know on some of your screens, this looks really even more fuzzy than here, so it's a little bit of a challenge. Yep, you click the button again and then it'll disappear so you don't see that box. I can hear you, but I can't see the screen. That's weird.
So she can see the screen, so she can hear, but she can't see you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't, okay, no, we're good. That was the old message. I thought it was a new one. Ah, getting paranoid now. Okay. So now that we have this, the next thing, we're going to do one more thing to get us set up a little bit here. So these right now represent elevations. So it's like as if there's a camera here and it was looking this way. So we want to move those so that they're outside our building. So I'm going to move this one over here. So to move the view itself, you got to move the line. So you click on the triangle and then you can just drag this. So I'm just going to drag it out here. Then to move the symbol, you click on the box and you drag the box. So second one over here, I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on the triangle and drag the box out. And then for the box, I'm going to click on the box and drag the box out. Click on the triangle, drag the line over so it's like looking at my building. Click on the box, drag the box over so it's outside. Last one. Where is the last one? I don't even see it. Is it like way out? I don't know. I don't see the last one. Oh, maybe it's cropped out. So if you want to uncrop a view temporarily, there's like the thing here that says do not crop view. Yep. So you can click on that and uncrop it, and then that'll make this pop back up. So now I can bring this in. Doesn't need to be that far out. And I can bring, click on the thing and drag it in. I can also delete these two lines. I don't need them anymore. Okay, I'm going to re-crop my view, crop view. Okay, so I should now have my floor plan with the 4 little triangles surrounding it. Does anybody need help? And you're uncropped, right? Let's make a new one. Okay, so if there's one that you like just totally can't find, to make a new one, you go up to View, which is hidden by my Zoom thing, of course. Okay, so view, and then you would go to elevation, and then you'll be able to put in a new one. So notice it's, because it's like a default one, it wants to click to a wall. Since I don't have a wall yet, it's not letting me do that, but I can place it for now. And then once you click on the box, you can check this box, and that'll make the direction you want. And you can uncheck the other box that you don't want the view on. And it just disappeared because it's outside my crop region again, I think. Yeah. Okay. So when you click on the box, you'll see, let me drag this over to an empty spot. Okay, so you'll see there's like 4 little check boxes around it. You check the direction you want it to look, and you uncheck the ones you don't want. So right now, like the box with the triangles is for exterior elevations. When you're doing your interior elevations, you're going to click on here, and then it should have, I always call, okay, maybe that's something in our template. So for now, use this kind of elevation for both. You can use it inside and outside. Typically at my firm, we use like a bubble, like a circle for interiors and a square for exteriors, but it doesn't actually matter. It's the same thing. Okay. So we're mostly going to be working on annotation, but I want you to put in a couple of walls so that I can show you how you make rooms. So if you go to architecture and then click on wall, and we can make it a 12-inch masonry wall. And then you can go ahead and just trace here for right now. So let's just trace around like the very outside of the building. And I'm not looking for anything super accurate right now. We're just practicing and learning what some of the tools are. So you don't need to type in dimensions for this. You're just tracing. Okay, so I would like you to get in the very outside walls. So those are those. Also get in a couple of rooms. So I'm going to put in like the auditoriums. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's okay to use the same wall for everything right now. We can always change them later. Looks like I have a wall there. I have a wall here. Oh, that wall's crooked. That's not right. Okay. I'm missing just a couple more walls. Like the floor plan walls are crooked compared to the. Yeah. Yeah. I think you don't make crooked walls unless they're like, these walls are at an angle, right? But like for the most part, they should be straight. So I would say just use the floor plan as a guide. Yeah, just keep the ortho mode on. I just want you to get a couple walls in so we can make rooms. This doesn't need to be like the full plan. So right now I'm showing like, I think I have the auditoriums all enclosed, and I have the center space. And that's like, I think that's all I have for right now. Okay, let me know when you are ready to keep going. Yeah.
Have you deselected it? Like, I put it earlier to the drawing, but so I'm trying to make walls, so I make the wall, and then when I exit from the wall tool, it brings me back to the pin tool.
Oh, you should have still pressed escape. Did that work?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I'm also trying to press escape twice to get out of the tool.
Yes, I do it all the time. I think it's just, sorry if I don't mention that. It's kind of automatic at this point, where I'm just like, escape, 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 escape. Yeah, I use escape a lot. Okay, does everybody have in at least 3 rooms? Oh, yeah, okay. It's still happening.
Oh, you have to hit the wall again. It's just telling you that the thing behind it's telling you the thing behind you is locked. So you just need to go back to the picture. You can still leave A. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure we get to site. So wherever you are with rooms, it's enough. Okay, so to make a new room, you go to architecture, and then you're going to click on room. It's like over here under room and area. So when you click on that, it's going to, you can see like there's a little blue outline. The blue outline tells you what's defined as the room, and then you can click on it. So I have a room there, I have a room there. And like that obviously isn't all one room because I haven't finished the walls, and that's okay. I have a room here, room here. I can go through and just click and put wherever you have enclosed space, go ahead and put your rooms in. If it's not highlighting, it needs to have all the sides around it closed in order for it to highlight. Otherwise, it won't close. Okay, we have our rooms in. A couple, if everybody have at least 2 in.
Yeah, are you being too precise? No, it's just I got behind on something.
Okay. Okay, you're good. Okay, just close up one more room. Okay, you got a couple, sweet. So, your rooms should have automatically tagged. So if this were not here, like if I didn't have a tag here, I can go to annotate and then room tag. I can click on there and then click on my space, and that'll bring up my room tag. So the room tag is going to read out properties of the room. If I right click on here, I can select all instances visible in view. That'll select all of my room tags. And then I can change the room tag here to be room tag with area, and it'll tell me the area of that space. So that's a really helpful tool because you don't have to go through and draw the outline of each one after you already did the walls. It'll find the area for you. And especially like if I'm, like I use this a lot if I'm making faculty offices and like there's a requirement in their contract that they have to have exactly 100 square feet, you know? So I'll be there like nudging this wall over until it's exactly 100, which is like kind of silly, but yeah, but it's very helpful for that, that you can, the areas will adjust automatically as you adjust the walls. So what you do is you click on the tag and then you come over here to properties panel and you can change it to room tag with area. You can also change the room name. So where all that lives, if I hover over the room, this big X shows up. If I click on that, it's now going to highlight the room in blue and it'll tell me the properties of the room in the property panel now. So if I go over here, I can change, they have like name number is in this property panel. So I can change the number to whatever, right? So 3000. And I can change the room name to coffee shop. And then, oops, if I hit apply, that'll change the name. The other really nice thing here that I don't know if I remember how to do. Okay, I'm gonna look it up and tell you, but I think it's, I can make a department for it. So if let's say this department were like, what was one of our programs? Like the touring program. So like if the department was tours, I can then somewhere else say that all the tours are going to be pink and it would make the whole room pink. We'll do that when we come back and we're doing program diagrams though. So this, I just wanted to show you kind of like where that lives. In here, you can also put in your wall finish, your ceiling finish, your base finish. All of your finishes you can type into here. And then when you make a room schedule, it will show up. So if on here, if I put in my base finish is going to be RB1, it's a rubber base. My ceiling finish is going to be Gyp1. We're putting in gypsum ceilings. My wall finish, I usually split it up into the different sides, and I can show you how to do that, but I can say the wall finish for now is paint/acoustic panel. And I can put in my floor finish as carpet. So if I now were to go to, where do schedules live? If I go to view and then schedules, schedule quantities, and I can schedule my rooms. So I'm looking for a room schedule. Hit OK. And if I now bring over like the number, the name, the area, the base finish, the ceiling finish, the floor finish, whatever, and hit OK, you'll see that like the one I filled it in for, it now tells me what those finishes are. So the room is like, it's a great place to store information about what's happening in that space. Okay, we're going to go over schedules more in detail. This is just general introduction for now. Okay, so I did want to talk about annotation though, because that's something you're going to use for use more readily. So the first thing I want to do is make this, I'll put this on a sheet. So right now this is just living in like no real space, like it's not on a piece of paper, and I want it on a piece of paper so I know how big it is. So I'm going to come over here to view and then click on this thing that says new sheet. It's got like a little piece of paper with a star in it. Does everyone have this one in here, E30 by 42? All got it?
Of course, yeah.
So it's view is like on by file, so there, and then new sheet is over here. Okay, so let's use this one for now. Eventually, when you're making your final project, you'll change the sheet size to what you need it to be. So hit OK. So that's going to give me a title block. And in here, I can put in information about my project. I can also completely change this title block. Like this is kind of, you know, I don't really want to have Autodesk on here. So if I go to edit family, I can change this. So I can delete that. I could put in my own logo there. I can put in my own website here, or I can just delete it. And you can change the fonts of these, whatever else of these you want. I'm just going to delete that stuff because it was a little bit egregious. And then I'm going to hit load into project and close. And then you want to say overwrite the existing version and its parameter values. So now I have my title block without the Autodesk logo on it. Okay, this is my sheet of paper. I want to bring my floor plan onto here. So if I go to my project browser, we were working on our level 1 floor plan. I'm just going to drag it on. So I click on it and I just drag it on, and that'll bring it onto here. And the size actually looks like it's pretty good. This is probably a pretty good size for what we're doing. It's at 1/8 scale. I can select it. If it were way too big or way too small, I could come to properties and change the view scale. So I could make it like 1/4. So 1/4 obviously doesn't fit on my piece of paper. That doesn't work. I could change it to 1/16, and that makes it much smaller. I'll say generally we do floor plans at like 1/16, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2. We don't usually do like the 3/16, 3/8 because the contractors don't use them as commonly and they're harder. Like if they don't have a scale with them, nobody wants to do the math on that. Like doing the math on a 1/4 inch scale, if you just have a ruler, is not that bad, but like doing the math for a 3/8 is kind of annoying. So I'm going to keep this at 1/8 inch scale. And I can just click and drag it to get it where I want on the piece of paper. There's this little bubble down here, which is the drawing title. If I click on my view, I can then click and drag. Actually, sorry, that's wrong. If I click out of my view, I can then click on this and hold, and I can drag it to the corner where I want it. Do you guys want me to go through that whole process one more time? Yes, no, are we up to speed? Good, 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 good. Okay. All right. So now that we have this on the sheet and we know the scale, we're going to add a couple more annotations on here. So I want to go over adding detail lines and adding filled regions. So I'm going to double click. And now that I double clicked, I'm in my view. So I'm no longer like working on the piece of paper. I'm working inside my building again. Does that make sense? Do you know like paper space, model space from AutoCAD? Probably. Okay, so now I'm like in my building. If I want to get out of it, I double click and I'm back on my sheet. So inside my view, I'm going to add some filled regions. I'm going to go to annotate and then come here to where it says region. And you're going to do filled region. I'm going to use this to do kind of like a bubble diagram over this. So I'm going to use a circle, and I'm just going to make a big circle over here. And I'm going to hit the check mark to finish my circle. So right now, it just made like whatever the default pattern was this diagonal crosshatch. I want it to be more of a diagram, so I want to make this like a fun color and make it clear. So I'm going to come over here to edit type, click on that. I'm going to duplicate this and call this diagram yellow, hit OK. I'm going to change my foreground fill color to solid, hit OK. I'm going to change my foreground pattern color to yellow, hit OK. And then I'm going to uncheck masking. Masking means that if it's on, it's opaque. If it's off, it's clear. And then hit OK. And so now I have a filled region of color. I'm going to do that whole thing one more time. Okay, so I'm going to go to region. I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to hit the check mark to finish it. I'm going to come over here to filled region and hit edit type. Then I'm going to change the, duplicate it. So I'm going to call this diagram red, hit OK. I'm going to change the foreground fill color to solid. and I'm going to change the pattern color to red. And then I'm going to uncheck masking and hit OK. So this can be used for diagramming. It's also if you're drawing in stuff but you don't want to model, like things that are really small, you can use that. If you're drawing details, a lot of it's done with filled regions. It's done with filled regions and also detail lines. So detail lines are just lines. That's what they sound like. They don't exist in 3D space. They only exist on this particular drawing. So for example, if I were to, these also exist only on this drawing. So if I were to come here and hit duplicate view and just hit duplicate, all of those things, the background pattern, all those 2D things that I put in do not exist here. This is just a snapshot of the model again. The rooms are still here, but they're not tagged. So a room is like a model thing, but I would have to go back to annotate room tag in order to tag it again. So the tag is also like a 2D thing. But the room itself is like a 3D real thing. If you wanted to make a second copy of this and keep everything, you can do that. So you would right click on here and hit duplicate view with detailing. But then if I go here and like delete this, it'll still be in my original drawing. It's just like you drew on top of the model. Does that make sense? It's kind of a weird concept. I think it'll make sense as we keep going. Okay, we're just going to go over one more thing, and then I want to make sure we have enough time on site. So the last thing is detail lines. So your detail lines are here. Actually, two more things. Sorry. Oh, two more things. Detail lines. So detail lines are just what they sound like. They're lines. You can make lines, rectangles, polygons, splines, which are like curvy shapes, all those things in here. And you can change the line style. So thin line is going to be a pretty thin line. If you type in TL, it makes all of your lines thin. If you type in TL again, it shows them at their real thickness. So if I could do a wide line, you'll see that the thin line and the wide line are different, right? But if I type in TL, they both look the same. It's almost like print preview and like not print preview, TL, because if I'm drawing always with everything on, sometimes I can't see things because they're blocked, right? Like it's hard to tell where something is. But TL is what you use for that. Some other line types. So I can type in DL as the shortcut. And then I can change it to hidden lines are going to be dotted. Demolished line is going to be dotted, but a slightly longer dash. Overhead should be a tighter dash. So it has all of those kind of standards already built into the template, which is really nice. You can also make your own styles, but for now, we're just going to stick with what's in the template because it has what we need. It has a fat line, it has a thin line, it has a dotted line. Like what more do you don't really need much more. That's good. Okay, the other thing is annotation text. So if I come here and click on the text, I can type in like projector. Ooh, usually you type in caps. I don't know why that is. It feels very aggressive, but that's what we do. We type in caps. So projector overhead. And then once you have this, usually you want your, like the normal text size is 3/32. So if you come over here, you would change it to 3/32 Arial. And that's really the smallest you want to go. That's like very legible. And if you click on it up in this corner, there's these different arrow types. So if you click on that, it'll make a little arrow come out of it. And then you can point at whatever you want to point at. And you can move that to make an arrow. So going through that again, if I go to annotate text, I can draw a little text box. I can type in my text. Oh no. I can select my text. I can change the size of it over here under properties. And over here, I can add an arrow. So I can click on the arrow and then I can drag these little bubbles to make it point to what I want it to point to. I lied. I have one more thing to go over. Sorry. The last thing is dimensioning. And we did this a little bit, but it's also important for what we're about to do. So let's talk about it one more time. So for dimensions, the shortcut is DI. D as in dog, I as in ice. So when you do that, if it's not clicking on what you want it to click on, you can tab and it's going to dimension from whatever turns blue. So I'm going to do just from center line. So if I take the center line of the wall to the next one, to the next one, I then click outside. And that'll show me that. It's a little bit hard to see with this in the background here, so I can hide it. If I uncheck it, I can right click it and hit hide and view elements and it'll go away. So one more time for that. I can click on here, I can unpin it, I can right click and check hide and view elements. And that'll disappear for now. Okay, so one more time for dimensioning. I type in DI. And then I can select whatever I need to dimension, and then click outside to finish that dimension string. I can click and drag the dimension string around. If I don't have enough room for something, like this is kind of overhanging, I can click it and this little bubble I can drag, and that'll bring that dimension out. That's very helpful when you're doing small details. So if I select my dimension line, I can hold the bubble and drag it and then get that kind of floating off the side. Huh, really? DI? Yeah. Oh, no enter. Just DI. And then, yep, no, but. So yeah, Revit's weird, there's no entering. It's just 2 letters for the shortcuts. All okay over here, I'm mentioning down. Okay. Yep. Yep. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. You gotta put the next one. If you click there, then you gotta click somewhere else that's like not attached. Yep. Oh, there you go. I wonder how to do it. Yeah, okay, so you gotta click on the next wall you want to dimension to. So click on like that one, and then click outside somewhere. Okay, and you can always, so if you escape, then if you click on that, wherever you can escape, so you can click on it and you can drag it to where you want it to be. So that drags just that piece, but you can also drag the whole line if you select the line. Yeah.
Is there a way to adjust where this
So there's like, that's
Yep.
all.
like what
Yeah, wait, again?
is there a way to adjust what's next?
Oh, what are you trying to snap to?
Because I was looking at it earlier, so when I was trying to like center something,
Yeah.
I have my midpoint. And then I was trying to do it between two midpoints. Oh, no, that's awesome.
It doesn't, some of the drafting tools are not as good.
Okay.
Yeah. This is true. Some of the drafting tools are not good. Okay. So when you are dimensioning, this is really important for field measuring. Let's say I'm in the field and I'm trying to figure out like where these walls are. I always want to get an overall first. So I would dimension, and usually you only have the interior walls, right, when you're dimensioning. So I would hit tab. So I would be like measuring from there to there, basically. I do that one first. Then the second thing I do is I measure in between walls. But what you want to be careful of is that it'll never be like exactly the same, because inevitably there's like little 1/8 of an inch and 1/2 an inch that add up. So when you do your drawing, you rely on the overalls, you don't rely on these. So I might go through and I'll measure where each of these is. And then if one of these I know is maybe I had a hard time getting it for whatever reason, I'll add a little plus or minus on my notes so that I know that like, let's say I draw this out and there's only 2/8 here, I know that's okay, right? Like there's an extra inch. The extra inch must have been in this space that I couldn't measure as well. Or sometimes it's just because like, you know, it's tiny fractions of an inch that add up, but you always want to try to get the overalls when you go to a space. So you know that like that's the measurement these should all add up to. Generally also like, let's say there was some kind of a cornice here or something I wanted to measure. I'm not going to measure that from the other side of the room. I'm going to measure it relative to what's closest to it. So let's say there was like a little bump out here that I was measuring. I wouldn't take like this measurement, right? I would always get the closest wall and use that as my reference for drawing it, because I know that that's going to be the most accurate for me when I'm drawing. Other things when you are taking field measurements, you always want to make sure you're in the same units. So what I mean by that is, especially like often you'll go with another colleague and you'll have one person measuring and one person writing it down. And it drives me nuts when the person who is yelling at me is telling me like 36, 3 feet, 36, 3 feet. It's like, no, just keep it the same. So either it's always like 3 feet, 2 inches, 3 feet, 6 inches, 5 feet, 10 inches, or it's always 36, 48, 50. Because if you write it on your paper both ways, like if I write it down, your handwriting inevitably, like you're not going to be able to tell when you get back to the office if something is 50 or 5 feet, 0 inches, you know? So that's just something like, which it doesn't matter which way you do it, just know what you're doing when you're writing. You're always going to miss dimensions when you field measure, always. So just do your best to get overalls and try to have enough like things of reference that you'll be able to check things later against things. And also, like, I take lots and lots of photos. Photos are really helpful because, for example, if I go back to this to my photos, let's say, and we're very close to the Jenkins Center, so it's like not a big deal if you have to go back, but sometimes sometimes you can't go back to a location because it's only open at certain hours or whatever. So let's say I forgot to get this ceiling height here. If I make sure that I measured what the bricks are, I can always go through and figure out the ceiling height later. So when you're there, don't only get ceiling heights, but also measure out like, okay, there's a 3-inch brick in here, and then worst comes to worst, I can sit and I can count bricks and figure out what the ceiling height is. Same thing, let's say I forgot to measure the brick height, I could measure the floor tiles. You know, how big are those floor tiles? Just looking at them. Yep, they're 12 by 12, right? There's some standards for like ceiling tile, like that's a 2x4. So if I forgot to get this measurement, I can come back here and count ceiling tiles and kind of figure it out. So just remember that like you will always forget things. It's really hard to measure everything. So try to keep like some notations for yourself, some photos for yourself so you can go back and find things later. Yeah. Yeah, so if you click on the dimension, if you click on this one, like click on the thing itself, this is a place where you override dimensions or you add notations. So for example, I do this a lot with millwork. Let's say I'm drawing like millwork cabinets. Oh, I have my overhead line on. So let's say we have like 12 feet of millwork that is 34 inches high. And then let's say I know that I'm going to have a 2-foot cabinet, and then I'm going to put in a dishwasher, and I know that the dishwasher is 24 inches. And then here I know I want 3 equal cabinets. So I'm just going to do, oops. This scale doesn't work, so I'm going to move up to 1/4 scale for this. Okay. So since I want these equal, I'm going to hit EQ, and those equal out. So let's say this is what I told them how I want the cabinets divided, right? This is what's on my drawing. But in real life, they get there, and this is really 12 feet, 4 inches or something. I want to make sure that they don't change the 2-foot dimension, because that really matters, because that's where my dishwasher is going, right? Like that can't change. So under here, I would type hold. And then the mill worker knows that like that dimension can't change. So like these 3, I don't really care how big they are, right? And this one, it's probably okay if it gets an inch or 2 bigger. But this needs to be exactly 2 feet. So that's what that's really helpful for. If you click on it, you can type in there. You could also replace with text. So let's say I don't know what my dishwasher is yet. I could type in dishwasher and then see spec, which means that like you need to leave dimension for a dishwasher, and it's in the specifications that you're going to get later. You know, so that's like, on some level, it feels like, you know, you're kicking down the can, like, oh, you're going to make them go look at that. But on the other hand, like, I can't tell you how many times the appliance changes, because like the client changes their mind or like whatever, and you forget to change it in one drawing, and then it's wrong. So it's always like, you want to try to have all the information once, ideally, you know, like I only want that dishwasher like mentioned in one place, so that I only have to change it once. So I'm trying to think what else this is helpful for. So you can add prefixes. The other one I use a lot is verify in field. So I mentioned that like, okay, this might actually be 12.6 in real life. So I would put VIF, which means verify in field, and hit OK. And so if I put that there, the contractor knows they need to go and measure. And if it's more than 12 feet, they need to tell me. You know, it's like they're supposed to send me back like an email or in their drawing, say, I verified this dimension is really 12 feet. My worry is that they didn't really go measure, and then they make the cabinets, and then they go to install them, and they're too small, you know. So VIF is a big one. So VIF is a big one, plus or minus is a big one, EQ is a big one, hold is a big one. And all those, you just click on it, and then you get to those properties. What it will not let you do, that I always try to make it do, is sometimes I don't want to change my whole drawing, but I want a dimension to read like something else. So you can do replace with text, but if in here I try to put like 4 inches and hit OK, it's going to yell at me and be like, no, you need to change it to 4 inches if you want to do that. How you get around that is you put in like, I think space 4 inches. Oh, no, I can put in period 4 inches and then hit OK. Oh, this one's smarter than the old one. Oh, no. What if I do, I usually can do period 4 inches, and it'll let me do it. Okay, so I can do comma 4 inches, and then like, it's not real, right? But you can write over something that way if you're in a pinch. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. So that is over here, view. And then if you go to user interface, you always want your project browser and your properties on, those little 2 check marks. Okay. All right, so we need to go field measure. I'm thinking when we're there, we'll split it up. So everybody will take, I think maybe we need to be in pairs. So we'll have 2 pairs. And then I think if we get like, let me put my thing back on so we can look at it. And hide and view elements. Okay. So there's a couple of areas I think would be helpful to have dimensions for. I want to get overalls for the auditoriums. So just like overall, what's the dimensions of these to double check them with our drawing. And then in here, I want to figure out what the dimensions of this space are. So I'm thinking maybe we can split up and have one group kind of look at an auditorium, and then one group look at the middle. I think that's and then I want to check ceiling heights because I don't have those on here. So those are the main things I want to get while we're out there today. If you guys can keep notes on your drawings, And then if you just like scan them, upload them, take pictures of them, upload them, or email them to me, then I can put them all into one drawing that'll have all the dimensions on there so that we don't all need to get every dimension. That sound okay? All right, great. So